Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria of Through the Peacock's Eyes. Welcome to my channel. So this is my depth year update video. I don't think I've made an update video or made one for depth year since the beginning of the year. And I believe I said in that video that this is really a diving deeper year because I tend to be pretty deep. I tend to be doing a lot of the things that encompass what this depth year is about. I'll link that video on screen here if you haven't checked it out. I think I made two. I'll have to go back and check. So you can check that out if you want to. But what was really important for me about this depth year, and I don't know if I emphasized it in the other video or videos, was because 2017, 2018 were a couple of years because I was pregnant, had a difficult pregnancy and difficult labor and recovery and so on. I didn't accomplish much, if anything. And so it was like non-depth years or years where I just wasn't doing the depth of things that I normally do. Does that make sense? So kind of hopping on this bandwagon of the depth years helped me to really get back into being more me, being more productive, more creative. And the word industrious is coming to mind because that's what a lot of friends over the years have called me, even though I may not have felt that way, but apparently that's my impression on other people. So this depth year, I've definitely been doing more. So one thing about the depth here, before I talk about the stuff I've been creating and doing, which you may already know, I've mentioned it here and there in other videos. A lot of people are doing a no-buy year for the depth year. I called it, for me, a less or lower buy year. Not that I tend to buy a whole lot of things, but 2018, I really expanded my tarot deck collection. I think because 2017, I could barely touch tarot decks. I just felt too sick. So it was sort of like a rebound on that. So I wanted to kind of get on track. So I've gotten much pickier about what tarot decks I buy, ones that really reflect more of me. Some I've bought as research tools as well, study tools to study tarot, to study other esoteric or shamanic mythologies and things because of those specific decks. So I've gotten much pickier, which has helped me to really slow down my tarot deck buying. But I like the feeling of being very precise. Precise is probably a better word than picky. Very precise about what decks I want to work with or why I want to buy a deck. You know, is it for personal research? Is it something I want to use? Also, is it for research because I'm creating another deck? So I'm in the process of creating my fourth deck. Is it one that I think would be great to work with clients? Getting really precise about what I want to do and how I want to use tarot decks and oracle decks as well. Now, because of that, I have given away a lot of decks. I've given away several decks to close friends. I just this last 2-3 weeks did a giveaway for my newsletter subscribers, and I gave away 17 decks there. And I'll be doing another giveaway of a few more decks that I'm weeding out for YouTube subscriber, everyone out in YouTube land. So stay tuned for that. So weeding out, clearing out, getting more precise, and I guess more picky about what decks I have, what decks I use, and why I have them or why I want to buy them. So I have what I call my decks of interest list, more so than like my shopping list. And there have been a couple of times where I've seen a deck and I'm like, I absolutely want that because it's so unique or for whatever reason. So there have been a couple of times I've just bought one, but I pace myself and I do more research and I wait and I contemplate on it. Okay. When it comes to buying other things, I'm not a huge shopper. It's usually, okay, I need these things and then I buy them. So I don't have much of a problem with consumerism and things like that generally. Probably because I'm a kind of like a hippie, reduce, reuse, recycle. that kind of thing. So I don't usually have a big issue with that. I have been buying books this year. Again, I never said it was a no buy year for me, but those have gotten very precise as well. And much of it is for research and for support for all the things that I do, my writing, my deck creation, my work, and so on. Okay, I have my little list here I'm looking at. So, other things about this depth here. Um, I think I mentioned in my first depth year video about looking into like um, a degree or officiating, being a spiritual counselor, or, you know, in the past I have looked at non-denominational minister courses. Though I've kind of eliminated that, though I like the courseworks, the study of that. I don't want a congregation, so I thought, okay, that's not right. Exactly what I want to do. I have been, or I became a registered counselor in 2006 in the state of Washington, but it was limited to the state. So I wanted something that was a little more universal, kind of to make it more official, even though that's basically what I've been doing. And so I did recently get my diploma in spiritual counseling. So that was very exciting. It was an independent study course with a school, an accredited school in the UK, actually. But it took a while to research and find out what institution I wanted to do it through. So I've accomplished that. I've been reading more, studying more, challenging with now a toddler that's running around all the time. But what I do, and I mentioned this in like I think a video about like what I'm reading right now. I have a book in each main room, so 4 rooms. And sometimes she'll be busy playing and I'll read a page in one book and she runs off to another room and plays with something else and I'll read a page in that book. So by doing that, I tend to get a lot of reading done. So I have been reading more, and I've mentioned this before as well, like I am my work. Like everything I do is also my work. And so reading and studying, I just soak it all up. I love to learn more and research. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm able to read a lot more. Also, I put on my list here gardening and herbalism. So I am a herbal practitioner, though I don't use that a whole lot in my work, except with some distance Reiki clients. I'll recommend some herbs that come to mind. But to keep that up, I've been growing more herbs in my garden, really doing more research on it. On my Instagram posts, I often put herbal healing on there. So check out my Instagram. It's also on Facebook and Twitter. So just putting a little more focus into that and more time into gardening. It's really only maybe like an hour a week. It doesn't take, the plants do most of the work. But really getting back into the gardening and growing my own food and then growing some herbs and playing with that. I'm really enjoying that. And that's kind of a different type of depth. For the depth here, it's really getting deep into the earth, into Mother Earth, into the cycle of life and death. Okay. Now, the stuff I've been writing and creating, I did make great strides in the first couple months of the year with my book on schizophrenia, which is kind of about my sister. She's like the main subject, but it goes into all sorts of things of schizophrenia. I think I have about 12,000 words on that, so a pretty good chunk into it. And then all of a sudden, the inspiration for that stopped. And then I went on to other things. And then I completed and self-published my children's tarot, which is really exciting. I'm really loving how the deck turned out. I did make a video on that. I'll link that on screen towards the end here too, or just go to my channel page. You'll find everything there. So I completed that. So I completed and published the children's tarot, which comes with a guidebook and coloring book. Made some good progress in my book on schizophrenia. I also wrote and published my Traversing the Fine Lines, which is a workbook that goes along with my Fine Lines Oracle or guidance deck. So now that I'm talking about this, I'm like, oh, I have done quite a bit this year. So I've accomplished that as well. And I'm now working on the second edition of my astrology book, Shedding Light on Jyotisha Vedic Astrology for Beginners. So it's an expanded edition, and there'll be a course that goes along with it down the road. who knows how long it's going to take. But often I think things take so long to get done, and then I finish it and I'm like, wow, I did a whole lot. So it's just the perspective of where you are looking at that. I wrote a few other notes here. Yeah, so also learning with this depth here, more time management. So I made a time management video 2 or 3 months back. And since then, a lot of stuff has changed because now baby is running around all over the place. She's outgrown her playpen. She's outgrown what we call baby jail, which was the big playpen I had in this room. So I can't record very easily when she's around. She's napping right now, but she'll wake up. She always wakes up when I'm recording. So I'm expecting to hear her any moment. So it's like reassessing, reviewing constantly how to manage my time, how to get a little bit of this done here and a little bit of that done there. And it's really like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes of reading here, 15 minutes of writing here, a little bit here, most of the time spent with her playing, running around, and so on. So it's this year getting better and better at time management. I don't think I'm perfect at all. I often feel like, oh, I got to do better at this. I can do this better. I can not waste a little time there or a little time there. But yeah, I'm learning a lot there. And then, there's been some delays and setbacks. So like May, June, late April to early June, we were all sick, passing a cold around one to the other. And then it went a second round around. And just when I'm not feeling well, it's really hard to get a little writing done here and get a little reading done there. So there are some setbacks. But again, now that I'm like talking through this, I'm like, oh, I've done quite a bit. I've accomplished quite a lot this first half of the year in spite of all that. Or when you're in the moment, you're thinking, oh, I'm not doing anything, or I only read that one paragraph. But over time, you realize how much you accomplished. So it's been a good depth here. I'm just looking at my list here. Yeah, so the second half of this year, continue writing, continue creating. I'm working on my 4th deck. So this is another tarot deck, a full tarot deck. It's an abstract tarot deck. I have drafts done, and now it's like I keep starting the final paintings because I'm using paint. And then sometimes I go back to think I'm going to use ink, and then I'm back to paint. So there's something I'm not sure about, and I'm not sure about what that thing is. I'm not sure about. So in the creative process, I just like, okay, I'm just going to wait a bit and focus on creating other things, which is nice to have multiple projects, because if I'm stuck on one or the inspiration flow stops, like with my schizophrenia book, or I'm just feeling to work on something else, I have something else to work on. So there's always something to create. There's always something to write. So that is my depth here so far. Yeah, not too bad. I think not too bad. Yeah, and again, now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, pat myself on the back. Good job. Gotten a lot done. And the time management, the juggling, like through the spring, I mean, not just like cold passed around throughout the house, 2 rounds of it. Baby had more activities, more, some play dates. And so it was like juggling that with the time management and getting in the flow of that. And then suddenly, playpens are gone, and some of those activities have stopped, and redoing our schedule. Not that it's a set schedule, it's pretty open, but managing our time, and then managing the time I have to do the things I want to do. And then of course there's client time is set time. Like those are set times. So I don't have to like squeeze that in. It's more working around that too. Okay. So that is just my little depth here update. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do another update before the end of the year. We'll see how much I accomplish in that time. Yeah. But who knows? It usually ends up being more than I think, because it feels like things take so long to do, but then all of a sudden I'm done. So Okay, that is my depth year update. How is your depth year going? Are you doing the depth year? You can hop on at any time. You can do depth year whenever you want. You can have a depth month, whatever. Um, yeah. So thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and I'll see you back here soon.